everyone. Welcome back. So the Point CDC, the nonprofit organization, has been serving the Bronx community for many years through its various programming. And the organization has changed many, many, many lives, mine included, and has sparked educational and economic opportunities for people in the South Bronx. And now, to commemorate the organization, our next guest took part in creating a book celebrating 25 years of hard work. And joining us to share more about the book, please welcome head writer, poet Mariposa Fernandez, the Point Executive Managing Director, R Peralta, and Director of Sustainability, Sharon de la Cruz. Hello and welcome.
Hello.
Danny, unmute yourself because we can't hear you.
Oh, hello.
Pero welcome, and bravo. Thank you for the coffee, Mariposa.
You're welcome.
Oh my gosh. So, all right. So I did a formal introduction, pero Danny, let's open up with you and your role that you've been serving now for the past, how many years you've been the Executive Managing Director?
I've been hanging out here for like 13 years officially.
Right. Well, you've been hanging out officially for 13 years, but really my point was really to open up with the fact that you've been there all these years,
Sure.
And then how it's been passed forward and how you've taken on, how the torch was passed to you. So let's talk about you, your role, and just all the logistics and where the point is right now.
Sure. Thank you for having us. Yeah, thank you so much for having us today, Rhina. So it's a pleasure being on your show. As we said, the Point's been around now for 27 years, actually. And our work has been really at the forefront of helping to revitalize the community of Hunts Point economically and culturally, and really preserving all the beautiful assets that we have here and solving problems, So this book is really a representation of a culmination of working with people like Mariposa and people like Sharon and people like yourself who have come through these doors and have built with their bare hands, with their ideas, with their energy, a space, for a destination for other creative people looking to solve problems and think about climate change and think about social justice and think about how their art and their passions could meet in a space again and propel a neighborhood to the future. And so the book is about that. It's about capturing those stories. It's about creating a space for us to acknowledge the beautiful things that we've done and celebrate that and really kind of take a look into the future of our neighborhood.
I got to tell you, just going through the book, I was so emotional because, I witnessed some of this evolution, and to see how much the Point has evolved, not just the Point, the Hunts Point section. I know a lot of it is due to the Point and the services that have been offered. So Mariposa, as the head writer, I mean, this is quite the task you took on. And it's amazing. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. It was a powerful process of collaboration, and Danny actually, I have to thank Danny for trusting me and for choosing me to be the one to tell the story or to curate the story, because it's really a mosaic of memories and experiences and projects and all that the Point has done. And I think it was in January of 2020, we did not foresee that a pandemic was about to happen, that we were about to go in lockdown. And I was invited into a meeting with Danny Quazard and Eric Orr, who is a legendary artist who created the graphics and used his famous robot character that's throughout the book, pointing to the to the QR codes, because it's the concept of, and Danny could talk more about the concept of the digital virtual aspect of it, which is so cool. When they first explained it to me, I didn't really get it, and now that I have it in my hands, it's just such an amazing experience because, for example, with the QR code, most of us are reading with our phones in our hand anyway.
Right.
You could actually virtually be at the Point, in the courtyard and just experience it. I mean, it's blowing my mind. It is blowing my mind. So that we owe that to Danny and to Arash and to Eric. I just want to shout out Rhina Fernandez and Carrie Clark, Paul Lipson, Michael Glazebrook, everyone at the Point who contributed, Charles Rice Gonzalez for writing his Point memories.
And then, and so those are some of the chapters that she just talked about. And I want to talk a little bit about the social justice and the climate justice aspect of it, which is, I guess, an area that maybe you can speak on, Sharon, right? Because this is your expertise. And the fact is that this has been going on for all these years, and it's still going on, and there are still unresolved issues that are continuously being addressed. So I understand that you wrote something related to 2020 in the book. So it's amazing that you were able to get it up to 2020, even though it says it's until 2019.
Yeah. Well, now you can tell how long it takes for a book to come out, right?
Right.
When you write it and the editing process.
Right.
But I guess what we were thinking, I guess what we were thinking about in the last chapter is how we move forward intergenerationally, how we move forward across the city, right? Like, we are not the only environmental justice neighborhood, but we are leaders in environmental justice in New York City. And so how do we across the city come together to be louder and prouder and just more boisterous about the concerns, right? And about environmental justice, period, right? Like, you see climate change happening. There's no denying it, but what does it mean that it hits harder in particular neighborhoods in New York City? So that last chapter is kind of thinking through the lessons that we learned, right, on environmental justice, how we work intergenerationally, how we work across the city, and how we work basically in coalition. A lot of what I love about the book is we mention everybody we worked with, right? This is not a one-person gig, just like literally creating this book was not a one-person gig. Like, this is a collaboration amongst folks, and having shared principles and visions is really important for this work to move forward.
And so, because I mean, we can go on and on talking about all of the different issues that the Point has tackled, and as well as the artists. I mean, we could talk about the Fish Parade, which is a beautiful celebration that's been going on for a couple of years now, that evolved into a fish parade because it wasn't originally a fish parade, right? It was a resistance against the dumping of Hunts Point. And then, of course, there's the breathing, right? The air quality in Hunts Point. And then there's the fact that all of you are artists, and myself included. And right. So I'm a little passionate, I'm coming across very passionate because, you know, I've seen what it's done, and the fact that you're still going, and I've watched it just be passed over to the next generation. We forgot to mention Alejandra Delfin, who's been there for so many years as a graphic designer and as a teaching artist, and just the role that it's played on so many kids in that neighborhood that have gone on to do amazing things, like the photographer who went and shot, she was the videographer who shot Becoming Michelle, the documentary. That was what was that service called? The IPF, was it? Mariposa? ICP.
Nadia Halgren, that's our folks. Yeah, those are the artists that find a home here. And a lot of our, you know, young people, for myself included, you know, the world tells us that we can't necessarily do certain things, and we don't see artists. And growing up in our communities, we probably didn't think that we were looking at artists. And, you know, once we figured out who we were and who we could be, and we knew that we could, you know, we had a community around each other that we can support each other with, you know, that's the sky's the limit. And so Nadia, Alejandra, you know, Mariposa, all of us here, like you said, we're
Angel Rodriguez, yes, Caridad de la Luz, Lemon, Flaco,
Navaja, of course,
Luis, Steven
yes.
Saab.
And the list keeps going. Yeah. I mean, you see something, for example, like Open Hydrant, our theater company now. These young people are out on Channel 7, they're on Channel 5. I mean, they're in the movies. Like, we keep pushing that and propelling that narrative. And I don't know how people see our neighborhood, but we see our neighborhood, again, in a different kind of light. And people can learn that. And I think that that's something that maybe doesn't apply to everybody's neighborhood, but you can sit down, read this book, and develop an imagination for community resistance and empowerment. And that's really important. That's why we made this book, you know?
Not only that, you can experience it, which I really dig, because it's like, of the times, like, it's not just reading a book. It's done in almost like a magazine style, and you can experience it virtually. And unfortunately, we're running out of time, but I want to just
give one more shout out to Maria Torres, to the co-founders, to the founders of The Point. I did mention Paul Lipson, and you mentioned Steve Sapp and Mildred Ruiz, but Maria Torres wrote the dedication and provided a lot of insight and assistance in archival information. And thank you for having us. And we plan on having a series of readings to promote, to celebrate the book, and to talk more about it, and hopefully more books to really hone in and focus on different aspects of the work and of the history.
And the importance, sorry, I just wanted to add, and the importance that we're writing our history, right? Like we're jotting that down, we're archiving it for ourselves. No one is doing that for us. And that's the beauty of this book. That's why this book is like really rad.
It is rad, and there's a limited amount of people, so you have to get it now, right? Because I think there's only like 200 copies printed.
Yeah, right now at least. Yeah, the
Right
limited
now, for right now.
yeah,
300 at least.
Yeah.
But
this is also a template for other frontline communities, for people like 2 young people from Vieques came and toured The Point and said, we want to create something like this right here. So this is like it could be thought of as a blueprint for other communities.
Right, but the idea is exactly what Sharon said. It's our history written by us. So congratulations to all of you. Thank you.
Thank you.
And you guys, if you're interested in the book of The Point, 25 years, the story of where community and creativity connect, be sure to visit thepoint.org. All right, we got to take a quick break, but when we return, we'll hear all about an annual music festival taking place in person right here in New York. Don't go anywhere.